much as you are borrowing today. And that in itself, you won't crowd out the private sector and you will be bringing down the inflation, these taxes. Yes, we have obviously.
Me see the rate at which Forson is been trending, Abusua, why is a Ghana inflation, a cost was what trending I won't see that. Ampa, Forson has been trending after the 2025 vetting. And some Forson kikan Abusua. Now, Dr. Keso Forson appeared before the vetting committee, and then he, as the Minister of Finance designate, has given Ghanaians the assurance that the E-Levy, the betting tax, the COVID-19 tax, and so on, and as some of the taxes that the NDC together, or the NDC led by John Dramani Mahama, the promise that they gave, say, indeed, Omubecha E-Levy betting tax, money at the Adimunan, or see they still stand by it. And then he, as the Minister of Finance, in 120 days, his first budget, they are going to take off the E-Levy, the COVID-19 tax, and then the betting tax. So my youth, kudos to that, because Forson, according to his assurance, said he is going to cancel the E-Levy. Why? According to Dr. Forson, I say the only way for Ghana to generate revenue, it is not by taxation. No. I say we are not going to tax the system like left, right, center. No. I say there are so many ways to generate revenue into the system. So if we cancel the E-Levy, if we cancel the COVID-19 tax, it is not going to affect the government that much, because according to the projection which was being made by Dr. Baumia and then the then Minister of Finance, H.M.A., by 2024, the COVID-19 tax together with the E-Levy, projection analysis can reach a point of 5-point-something billion Ghana cedis. Now, according to Forson, and as we should data muni's and send me Forson Kana, was say or no Forson, the Bank of Ghana alone, and on Kwano etimi making loss of 10.55 billion Ghana cedis, which is twice the COVID-19 tax and also the E-Levy. So if we concentrate more at the Bank of Ghana sector, we are going to get more revenue.
You don't necessarily have to increase taxes before you rake in revenue. We have the handles. What we need to do is to improve compliance. I will work with the JRA, the Tax Policy Unit of the Ministry of Finance, to ensure that we increase compliance and to raise the revenue as much as we can. In the medium term, it is my vision, when approved, to increase the revenue from 13.8, tax revenue from 13.8% of GDP to about 16 to 18%. That will be able to compare ourselves to our peers. I believe the potentials are out there. It doesn't necessarily mean we should increase taxes. Yes, we have obviously announced that we are going to scrap certain taxes. We'll stick to just that. But it doesn't also mean that we don't care about the revenue. We care about the revenue. And we will have to do more on revenue. But it doesn't necessarily mean we should increase taxes. Some of the taxes out there are not bringing in the revenue that it should. For example, the betting tax is bringing in less than 50 million Ghana cedis a year. It's a nuisance tax. Scrapping 50 million Ghana cedis will not mean anything in a way that will affect the economy if you are to adjust, particularly from the expenditure side. I mean, the noise with the betting tax and all does not comprehend the imposition of such a tax. And so I believe that scrapping such a tax will not necessarily affect the forward march of the Ghanaian economy. Thank you.
From there, Forson has given Ghanaians the assurance that indeed the road tour and asset tour boots now, Baumiamu HM1 as I said, led by John Dramani Mahama, the NDC is going to reintroduce the road tour because of say day in and day out, Mkrofo to Mkrofo Nam Kwaso. And then by the moment Mkrofo Nam Kwaso Mkrofo to Kwan, then we have to introduce the road tour because Anya Ghana and Kwana, it is across all over the world. And then whenever the road tour is being introduced, it means that Ghanaians are going to pay some toll. Yes, they are going to pay toll. And then the moment the government says, those road tours, there will be a lot of revenue from there. So he, Forson, together with the GRA, and then other stakeholders, they are going to make sure, say, indeed, the road toll has come back to life. Ahanum ABJ so kai so subscribe. I think we are share link in my phone. And the next thing is you leave a comment. You can Dr. Keso at Forson.
The previous government indeed removed the road toll. But getting to the end, they signaled that road toll is coming back. Mr. Chairman, they submitted to Parliament, it was not laid, a concession agreement with the company to reintroduce the road tolls. I have a copy. Mr. Chairman, the NDC indicated from day one that the road toll will come back. We are not running away from it. In fact, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, at the time, the minority leader, said that the NDC promises to bring back the road toll. The Hansard will bear us out. We have not run away from that fact. So I can assure you, we are a party that sticks to our promises. And whatever we have promised to do, we'll do just that. If the road toll is a way to raise revenue, we'll raise the revenue. And the road toll, if you use the road, you have to pay a toll. And it's all over the world. Ghana won't be the first country, won't be the last one. You have to contribute towards the road maintenance. And so the only thing is we have to collect the revenue effectively.
So that's Dr. Keso at Forson and some of the two there, Emra, Honorable Afenio Markins, together with the NDC and then the NPP. Questions and who move Busa Honorable at Forson, Chese. At Forson, we don't know, sir, Kwano could deep Babana buy there because in some of the two Jano, now no other. You know, from there, they also asked at Forson, say, what about the taxation? What about the expenditure? And I said, new money cost now. Ato Forson offense me say. According to Ato Forson, was it the loans and I say Ghana and then Kobobosi or China Kobobosiano? Was it there is a way to generate revenue I best for mine without borrowing? And I said without like borrowing each like rampantly. No. According to Ato Forson, once the expenditure of the government is being cut, and I said new maybe a huhiano see so also a GD say Sikabeba system. Indeed, Ato Forson some of the two Jana, young fair no right.
I think government has a key role to play in this, particularly the fiscal authorities. I say this because if the country is actively in the market, borrowing every week, I mean, if you look at the T-bill market today, every single week we roll over 111 billion Ghana cedis. And if you were to roll over 111 billion Ghana cedis week in, week out, the exchange rate, the interest rate will certainly go up. And you should also understand that interest rate sometimes is a function of inflation. And that is why, personally, I believe there is the need for us to immediately work to bring inflation down. And then also work in such a way that we can stabilize inflation, stabilize the exchange rate, and create jobs. Until we do such a thing, certainly the concerns you've raised will still be there. And there's a lot of work we have to do. It starts from the fiscal authorities. We need to cut expenditure. The time is now. We have to cut the waste. And if you cut the waste, certainly you'll be able to, you will not be able to, you will certainly go to the market in a careful way that you will not be borrowing as much as you are borrowing today. And that in itself, you won't crowd out the private sector and you will be bringing down the inflation in a way that interest rate will come down. Thank you.
Ghana my hanum ABJ so kai so be subscribe. I think we are share link in my phone and the next thing is you leave a comment.